Ethan Caldwell woke to a jarring rattle instead of a gentle alarm. His old phone, screen spiderwebbed with cracks, lay atop a pile of 2018 architectural magazines doubling as a nightstand. The small studio smelled faintly of burnt oatmeal and damp plaster from yesterday's disaster in the kitchen. He rubbed his face, feeling the stubble from a razor too dull to replace. "Daddy," the small, tremulous voice pierced through his morning fog. He turned to the twin bed at the far wall. 6-year-old Maya, tiny and fragile, clutched her worn stuffed rabbit. "Mr. Hobbs," she whispered. "Morning, Ladybug," Ethan said, forcing warmth into his voice that he didn't feel. "Up early." "My chest hurts," she admitted, voice shaking. Instantly, he was at her side, checking her forehead, feeling the tightness in her chest. No fever, but the apartment's mold, lingering in every corner of their South Side Chicago basement unit, was suffocating her. Ethan grabbed her inhaler, shaking it carefully. Maybe 3 doses left. "Breathe deep like blowing out a giant candle," he coached. Maya followed, inhaling the medicine, and finally relaxed, falling into a slower, steadier rhythm of sleep. Ethan stared at her, hands trembling. The bills, the mold, the constant fear. He needed a real chance, not just enough money to keep the lights on. He moved to the closet, drawing out his charcoal grey suit, the one he'd bought 5 years ago, before tragedy struck, before his wife's accident, before 3 lost years of his career raising Maya alone. The fabric was thinning, the scent a mix of lavender detergent and desperation. "Today's the day," he murmured to his reflection. Ethan carefully placed Maya in Mrs. Higgins' care upstairs, the elderly neighbor giving him a small, encouraging pat on the cheek. "You look like you stepped out of a movie, Ethan. Go show them what you've got," she said. "Thanks, Mrs. H. If this works out, I'll finally get you that heater," he promised, clutching his leather portfolio, the one genuine luxury he owned, filled with sketches born from grief and sleepless nights. Bridges that looked like wings, buildings that captured rain and sunlight in impossible ways. The wind off Lake Michigan bit through his thin dress shirt as he walked to the subway, the city feeling grey and unwelcoming. Every step toward Ashcroft Tower was a mix of hope and dread. Ashcroft Tower rose like a glass spear into the sky, a monument to Victoria Ashcroft's ironclad empire. Ethan checked in at the front desk, where the receptionist's eyes flicked over his scuffed shoes and tired face. "Ethan Caldwell, 9:00 a.m. with Simon Draxler. Take the elevator to the 40th floor, and don't touch the glass," she instructed. The elevator ride felt endless. Soon he faced Simon Draxler, a sharp young VP whose casual arrogance reeked of privilege. The man barely looked at him, typing on his phone as Ethan sat down, portfolio on his lap. Draxler flicked through his resume, dismissive, even cruel. 3-year gap, what happened? Prison, rehab. "My wife died," Ethan replied quietly. "I took care of my daughter, I kept our lives afloat." Draxler laughed, a sound like snapping bones. "Freelancing, decks for soccer moms, urban renewal fantasies. You think that matters here? We need numbers, not daydreams." Ethan's chest tightened. The humiliation was crushing. He rose slowly, collected his scattered sketches after his portfolio strap snapped, and left the office without a word. 2 minutes later, Victoria Ashcroft stepped onto the 40th floor. Where Draxler was a shark, she was the ocean, immense, beautiful, unstoppable. At 32, she turned her father's regional construction company into a global empire. Her white suit was immaculate, her dark hair pulled into a severe bun, her stride commanding. She entered Draxler's office just as he mocked Ethan's failure. Her eyes fell on a single sheet of paper peeking from under a chair. A sketch, a defiant, breathtaking design of a glass and greenery spire titled The Maya Conservatory, Air Filtration Concept. The signature in the corner stopped her breath, Ethan J. Caldwell. Fury and admiration mingled in her gaze. She demanded Draxler reveal where he had gone, then immediately ran, stairwell after stairwell, through rain-slicked floors, determined to find him. Rain poured down like a waterfall, reflecting in puddles that mirrored neon signs and the few passers-by with umbrellas. Ethan walked briskly, clutching his briefcase, trying not to get soaked. Every sound, footsteps, raindrops, the hum of cars, seemed too loud, as if the city itself whispered, "You are alone." Yet in this noise he began to notice beauty. Rusty railings, wet asphalt, the gleam of water on old cobblestones. Suddenly he realized that these little details could bring his ideas to life, if he only gave them a chance. Victoria caught up with him at an intersection where a tram nearly collided with a taxi. She looked like a storm in human form, stern, decisive, with eyes that seemed to see through everything. Ethan Caldwell, her voice was like the ringing of a bell. He nodded. She extended her hand, not to shake, but as a sign that she believed in him despite the failure at the office. I've seen your sketches. You create worlds that others overlook, want a chance to show them to the world. Ethan froze. It seemed unreal. Who would believe that such an opportunity could appear today? Victoria led him to an old warehouse on the city's outskirts. Inside were models of skyscrapers, bridge mock-ups, the air thick with the scent of paint and wood. You'll work here, complete freedom. No bosses, no schedules, just you and your ideas, she said, pointing to a massive table already strewn with new blueprints. Ethan raised his hands as if embracing the air itself, catching a moment he thought was lost forever. His first task, design an eco-friendly building that would breathe with the city. He observed people, cars, trees, even the rain. Everything became part of his project. Nights merged with days, the lamp's glow reflecting in his eyes, hands smeared with ink. He drew, built models, destroyed them and rebuilt. Every mistake became a step toward perfection. But Victoria's fame and ambition weighed heavily on him. Colleagues were puzzled why a newcomer received the best assignments. Ethan doubted himself. Can I really do this? Should I trust myself? One evening he stood by the workshop window, watching the rainy city. If I fail, no one will understand that it wasn't just a sketch. It was a chance to create something real, he thought. Then a miracle happened. His concept, the Maya Conservatory, was approved for construction. Victoria smiled for the first time in days, and Ethan felt that rare lightness, when a dream becomes reality and fear retreats. You did it, she said softly. Ethan smiled, finally believing in his vision and in his own strength. Construction had begun on the Maya Conservatory, but not everything went smoothly. Heavy rains damaged scaffolding, suppliers delayed deliveries, and critics began questioning Ethan's unconventional designs. He walked the site daily, mud soaking his boots, heart racing with every problem. Yet in each obstacle he found inspiration, lines, shadows, patterns that gave the building character. The city seemed to challenge him, testing whether his vision could survive reality. One rainy evening, Ethan paused by a broken window of the workshop. His reflection in the glass showed a young man who had almost given up months ago. Memories of rejection, ridicule, and lonely nights came flooding back. But now he saw resilience. His hands were steady, his eyes determined, and his mind sharper than ever. The past was not a chain, it was a foundation for what he was creating. Word of the innovative conservatory spread. Journalists, photographers, and architecture bloggers visited the site. Cameras clicked, drones hovered, and Ethan felt the weight of scrutiny. Yet instead of fear, he felt pride. Every sketch, every sleepless night, every drop of rain had led here. The world could see his vision, the beauty he had imagined in his quiet moments. Ethan realized that success was more than recognition. He had learned patience, humility, and the importance of seeing the small details others ignored. Each interaction with Victoria, the workers, even the city itself, taught him that creativity thrives in connection, not isolation. By now, he no longer hesitated to share his ideas openly. He laughed freely at mistakes and celebrated even small victories, understanding that the journey itself was a masterpiece. Finally, the day arrived. The Maya Conservatory stood complete, a blend of glass, greenery, and light, breathing life into the city. Crowds gathered, journalists snapped photos, and Ethan walked through the halls, feeling every line and curve he had imagined come alive. Victoria watched silently, pride softening her usual stern gaze. Ethan smiled, not because of applause or praise, but because he had truly created something lasting, something that could inspire anyone who dared to dream, just as he had.